Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to make an infinity scarf. So an infinity scarf is where the project is knitted on circular knitting needles, or you knit it lengthways and then you weave in the ends so it's one big circle. I much prefer doing it on circular knitting needles, which is what this video is going to be about. So in this video you will need to know how to do a basic knit stitch and a purl stitch. I have those videos linked below, as well as a video to how you actually do moss stitch, which is the stitch that we'll be using in this video. So to get started, what you will need is some knitting needles. So these are 9mm needles. These are circular. I'm not quite sure how long they are. However, I do recommend you get about 60 or 80 centimeters in length. The next thing that you will need is obviously your wool. So this is Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. I like using this one a lot for scarves because it's nice and soft and it's really easy to work with. You'll probably see me using this quite a lot on my channel. So this is the shade or the color Oatmeal. So I actually purchased 3 balls of yarn to make this. However, I only ended up using 1.5. But it depends how long you want to make the scarf to how many balls of yarn you will need. Also, if you are using a different type of wool, different thickness, different type of needles, you will need more or less depending. Everything is dependent on what materials you're using. So that's the basic materials. I would also recommend that you have a stitch marker. This will help you to count your rows so you can see where the beginning and the end of your row is. It's a lot easier and it kind of makes it a little bit quicker in the long run because you don't have to keep going back and figuring out where you started because you are working in a circle. It's good to know. So the next thing as well is you will need to have a row counter. Obviously you can go back and you can count your rows, but it's much easier if you do have a record of it. So you can get little row counters such as this. You just turn the little sides and it counts how many rows you have done. I don't actually use these because I leave it everywhere. I'm constantly moving around when I'm doing knitting, doing it in different places, and I forget where it is, and it's so little that I would lose it. I actually have one on my phone, which is amazing. It's super simple, very basic. It was free and it does exactly what I need it to do. So if I can, I'll actually insert a clip here with the actual app that I use. So all you have to do is tap the screen and it will add a number and then add a number again. And when you're ready to subtract, you just swipe to the left. So in the tutorial, I will be knitting a double wrap. This is knitted with 109 stitches. However, if you wanted to make it a little bit bigger, you can. From memory, I'm pretty sure I've done 129 stitches. And most common width-wise that I've done is 24 rows. But if you want a little bit littler, you can do that. Just cut it down and then cast off. But just for the purpose of this video, I'm doing 109 stitches with 24 rows, and that gave me a double wrap. I also only used 1.5 balls of yarn, whereas in the past when I've made the triple wraps, I've used 2.5 balls of yarn. So without further ado, I will jump into the tutorial and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to start by making a slip knot. So you want to leave that tail so it's easier to weave in at the end. We're going to put that on our needle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cast on. I think I'm going to do 109 stitches. So I will speed through this. Okay, so once you've finished casting on, what you want to do is you want to go back and you want to count your stitches just to make sure that you have the correct amount, because especially with this type of pattern, you want to make sure that you have the exact amount. If you have one extra, then it will completely throw off the actual stitches. So I'm going to go through and count. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have the exact amount. So we've got 109 stitches. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to connect these two together. So we're going to make that circle. So to do this, you want to first make sure that everything is straight, so nothing is twisted around the needle or the string, so it all ends up like this. And I'm not sure if I do this correctly, but this is just the way that I have always done it. So I'm going to turn it around so that the last cast on is in my right hand, and my first stitch is over to the left. So we're going to go in, and again just double check, make sure that everything isn't twisted and it's all straight. So you're going to go into that first stitch, make sure that the yarn is at the back. So we're going to go into that first stitch and we're going to knit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick up that tail and I'm going to knit that into the stitch. This is just going to kind of create a little bit more of a connection. So as you can see, everything is connected. Sorry, it's not going to create a connection. This is going to make sure that it's a little bit easier when you're weaving in that end. So as you can see, everything is connected. So we've got our circle. So we're going to go to the front and we're going to do a purl stitch. And I'm going to keep those two pieces of yarn. I'm going to push this to the back and I'm going to drop my tail end, and I'm only going to have the piece of yarn that's connected to the ball, and we're going to go into a knit stitch. Bring that around and do a purl stitch. And so we're going to continue that around the entire loop. Forgot, you're going to want to add in your stitch marker. I usually do this after I've done the first row, but if you're just learning, you're probably best doing it at the beginning so that you know where the beginning and the end is. So I'm just going to pop this around here, and that is just going to follow that around. So that's going to help me see how many stitches I have done. Sorry, rows I've done. Sure that this isn't twisting, because as you can see here, it's kind of twisted around, so you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So as you can see, that's gone a little bit like that. Now I want to kind of pull this out and I want to see where that stitch falls. So as I can see here, that is the bottom, so I want to make sure that this comes out like this. When you're first learning, you could probably get like a clip or something and you could clip them together so that they didn't unwind, or sorry, not unwind, but twist around. And what you want to do is you want to grab that stitch marker and you want to put it straight on the next ball, on the next needle, sorry. So remember when we started on a knit stitch. So because we've done an odd amount, the last stitch that we worked on was a knit stitch. So that means that automatically we're going to go into that purl stitch, which is going to help us create that moss stitch effect. So you've got to remember as well that the first 2 stitches we used the tail end. So you're going to want to make sure that you're not picking up a stitch with that. So now that I've done my first row, I'm going to add it into my counter. So 1 row. So I like to add it in after every single row. That way I don't forget. And we're just going to keep knitting around in our moss stitch. So I'm going to continue knitting this. I'm going to move to a new location, which is a little bit more comfortable. And I will come back to you when I need to add in a new ball of yarn. Okay, so it's been a few hours since I filmed the last clip and I've been knitting away. And I'm up to the stage of adding in a new ball. So I've just done it and I just wanted to show you how I did it. I'm not actually going to show you how to do it because I just tried filming that and it did not work. And I kind of want to keep knitting tonight, so yeah, I'm sorry. But it's really easy to do. So I'm going to, in the next clip, show you how to do that. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the previous ball of yarn. So you want to make sure that you leave yourself a little bit of a tail so that you can weave this in at the end. And this is the new ball. So all that I did, I made sure that the old ball was, the old ball and the new ball go in at the same edge, so that when you flip it over, you don't actually have any of the ball, any of the loose strings on this side. That would just mean that when you weave in your ends at the end, all of the weaving will be done on the same side. So you just kind of add in the ball and you just knit it as normal. So as you can see, there's no knots or anything. This is the new one. Left another tail as well so that can be weaved in, and you just kind of put it in and you just knit it as if you were knitting with the existing ball. You just keep that nice and tight. And there you've had it. You finished your infinity scarf. So as mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a double wrap. So you can set it nicely like this, or you can wrap it around and it sits kind of like a snood. So yeah, it's nice and easy, really snug, really comfortable, really soft as well, and really easy to make. All in all, I started at probably about 3-4 o'clock yesterday, and I finished at about 10 o'clock last night. And I ate dinner, cooked everything in between, so it probably took me about 4 or 5 hours to make. It may take you a little bit longer, and also depending how many rows and stitches that you are doing, it will take you a little bit longer or less if you're doing smaller amounts. So really easy to make, really quick and easy, and a nice little piece of clothing to wear. It's also a really nice gift for people, so I tend to make these for a few people, and I've had a few people buy them off me, and they all say that they're really nice and comfortable and they keep them nice and warm and cozy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for my next video, or if you liked what I did in this video, if there's anything that's your favorite, you didn't like, whatever, just let me know. As I've mentioned in my past videos, I check my Instagram a lot more than I check my YouTube channel, so just send me a message there. That'll all be linked below. And I'll have a few links on weaving in and knitting below as well, so whatever was used in this video will be linked. Yeah, I hope you enjoy and have a lovely day. Bye.